Last year I showed you how to prune young fruit trees, and this is the plum that was featured in this video. And as you can see, this plum tree has gotten way too big for my liking. But we're going to come through, I'm going to show you how I'm going to prune this tree this year. We're going to take it way back, and judging by the looks of it, we're going to get a decent amount of fruit this year. So let's start out how we always do. Dead or diseased branches and branches growing inward. Now a plum, we want it to be shaped like an upside down umbrella. So we want the center of this tree to be clear. You see the initial shaping, we did pretty good, but last year's growth got this guy growing in, this guy's growing in, and if it's vertical growth, I consider that growing in. That was pretty easy. Not a lot of inward growth this year. So let's move on to crossing branches. Look at this guy here. It's crossing, smacking into that one. So sometimes you'd come back, you'd cut this whole thing out, but I see we got a nice little gap here, and this one's not growing straight in. So I'm gonna come out here, I'm gonna find an outward facing bud right here, and I'm gonna snip that right there. So we no longer have crossing. But there's some more crossing over here. Let's look at that. So here I got a couple different options. I can do something with this guy or this guy. Now let's assess the situation. That direction is south. The sun is going to be shining this way. This one here is growing more out than this one. This one is growing too far in for my liking. So let's make a drastic cut right here. We're gonna come right here. We're gonna take that whole guy out. No more crossing. Now once again, we got lucky because we keep up with our pruning each year. We don't have many crossed branches. So now we're going to move on to all this clutter in the canopy height. So to take down the height of this plum tree, we're going to be removing centers. You see, like here, you have a center branch coming out right there where it forks. I can take out that whole center right there, and that's going to take some height off this canopy. So let's look at this branch. This branch comes out, we got a nice angle, we got some side growth. We come up here, we got this long guy, that long guy, that long guy. If I leave these, they're gonna get even bigger and this branch is gonna start sagging. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna take this whole center out. Now what this does is it gives me this fork right here and here. So now these branches can send out side shoots. And this is what happens. Here's one I did last year. You can see the little nub right there. Got a nice V shape. Let's take a look at this one. We got a lot going on at the end of this branch. Now this guy comes up. We got this guy coming out at a nice angle. We got one that kind of comes out at the top. And that one is the center. And we're going to take that out. Nice V shape. Long branch coming up. Three-way fork. Gonna take that center out. Now here's a situation where I'm not gonna take the center out. This guy's the center. That's at a good angle. This one here is growing straight vertical off this tree and angling in. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get rid of that whole guy right there. We got this branch here and this branch here right now. That's gonna force the energy into these two branches. And next year, we'll probably end up taking this out. And that's gonna keep that canopy nice and low and make stronger branches. Same situation right here. Got a three-way split. This is the center, but this one's good, that one's good. This one is growing somewhat in, too much for my liking. That is gonna go away. And you get a situation like this, where you got a long, spindly guy growing there, and you have this whole cluster here. You gotta make a decision what you want to take out. Now I got this guy is growing too much in for my liking. It's gonna go. I'm down to 3 right now. This guy is growing out at a nice angle. I want to keep that. But the rest of this is just getting too tall. So what I'm going to do here, it's a pretty drastic cut. I'm going to take this whole one and that whole one off right above that branch I want to keep. This branch comes out. It's going to fatten up. This guy is coming out. Eventually that's gonna fork and we're gonna get a nice branch coming out from the tree this way. We got a mess going on here. Now this guy, nice thick branch, but it's gonna go It's going to get shaded by all these other branches. Clip that guy out. Still a mess. This one we want to keep. We just cut the center out of that one. I don't like this whole thing coming out right here. So this one, I want to come in here. I'm going to cut this whole section out. And that's really cleaned up a lot of the mess inside here. And then coming off there, we got another center we can take out. With most of the clutter gone in this tree, now it's time to focus on these spindlier branches, cut these down, control the height of this tree, and make these branches fatter. So most people are going to say, take 25% of the growth off. We're going to go heavier with that because this tree put on about 6 to 8 feet of growth last year, and I had to do some summer pruning just to try to control it. So let's start here. Got this guy coming up. Nice forked split here. I'm going to take this new growth from last year a little bit more than half down, and I'm going to come right out to an outward facing bud. Now that bud is pointed that way. This is going to grow out in this direction and fill in this empty gap. And it's going to force some side growth here. Coming along to this thin, weak branch right here, we're going to find an outward facing bud. Cut it off right there. As you can see, we're really starting to take some of this height out. And I'm just going to go around here now and continue to take off a little more than 50% of the growth to outward facing buds. Some of these super long ones, that's not going to be good when I want to be able to reach my fruit. And I'll go through, I'm going to tip all these. Pruning encourages growth, so don't feel too bad or think you're cutting off too much. And don't worry too much because plum trees are pretty forgiving. Here's where we stand now. We took off probably about 2 foot, maybe a little more growth there. A tree that's nice and short now, can fatten up. I'm liking where we're at now. I could already picture next year what's going to happen. We have branches like this big center coming out here. Even though it's the strongest now, next year we'll probably end up chopping that right there. That's going to keep this canopy down. Center of the tree is nice and open for airflow and sunlight to come in. So when we get all these plums coming in here, we should get some nice pollination and a decent harvest as long as the frost doesn't take them out again. We'll be coming back yearly, possibly, to show you how I prune this every year. Now these methods are going to work on plum trees that are 2 years and older. The first year you're just going to get a whip and you're going to chop it about knee height to get these bottom branches formed out, to get that upside down umbrella going. After that, follow the steps I went through here. Good luck. You got any questions? Let me know in the comments and I'll try to answer them. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.